good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or I guess good night maybe, wherever you're listening to this, at whatever time of the day it is. Hello. My name is Daniel, and this is Across the Pond, the podcast where I speak to people from all around the world. Today I get to speak with Johnny. Johnny is he's an awesome guy, dude. I don't want to try and put a label on him because he's a very awesome guy. Like, I don't know what else to say about that. I hate putting labels on people, I really don't like to do that. But this guy is really cool. He has an incredible idea for an awesome company, awesome business. I'm not going to say what it is because it's not my place, but trust me, you're going to want to hear it. It's really cool. Not to mention, we talk about some of Johnny's ambitions when it comes to sailing, when it comes to hiking. We talk a little bit about Johnny's work and just kind of what his goal is with everything. It was a very awesome, truly amazing conversation. I hate using that word too. I hate using truly awesome or truly inspiring because it sounds so basic, but this one really was cool. I really did enjoy my time that I had with him. I feel like we did an amazing job at just kind of talking for an hour. That also doesn't sound very good. It sounds kind of boring, but trust me, this one is solid. Anyway, here's my talk with Johnny.
Hello.
Hello?
Hey, Daniel. What's up, man?
Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Yeah. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks. I'm just kind of hanging out. I just heated up some food. I made curry chicken last night, and so I'm deciding to eat that for lunch since the wife is still gone.
Nice, man. Out of town or what's going on?
Yeah, she went out to Chicago to see some of her family on her mother's side. There's some health problems and stuff that's gone down, and she decided to go out there and see them just for a little bit, catch up, and make sure everything was okay. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it's okay. It is what it is. They're kind of starting to get to that age, and so you can't really, do anything about it besides kind of wait. As awful as that sounds. So.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I do know. How's my audio? I'm just through the PC
You're
mic
fine
right now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You're all good. No worries. How was your weekend?
Let's see. I don't know, man. Kind of, I'm letting it get away from me. I'm really somebody who kind of wants every day to be. I guess everybody does, but I'm in a weird place, I guess, to be just out there. Yeah.
Do you mind opening up about that? Because I'm curious.
No, it's fine. I'm just I'm so just tired of the rat race, and I have no fulfillment like in my job, So
Gotcha.
I just hate going back to it, and I feel like the time that I get off on Friday, all I do is spend time thinking about until Monday. So,
well, I mean, you said because I'm looking over the thing that you filled out. You said as of what is August 22nd. You got 2 years, so you're a few months into it.
Yeah,
few months.
Yeah, working on that, and then just I'm down here in California, so that has a lot to do with the protocols that keep on popping up and the numbers that pop up with COVID. It makes me think like, whoa, what's going on? And then when I kind of take a step back and I'm not being so like pie in the sky, and I get a little more realistic about what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you're probably gonna have to continue working. I mean, because I have 4 daughters, so
Yeah.
I have a lot of responsibilities at the moment, and then I just, reality starts to set in. But then I also want to keep a dream alive and also like adjust it.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are things that I talk about a lot, and it's kind of, let's see, just adjust my 2-year goal, as it goes along. And I also have to keep sight, like doing a daily podcast, well, trying to, kind of made me think that I had to make some kind of huge progressive jump every day, or else I was going to have nothing to talk about, so
Yeah.
yeah, the
No,
days that I didn't, it got hard. Sorry, go ahead.
no, no, no. I was just gonna say I kind of understand at least where you're coming from with the podcast. Like I said, I'm married. My wife is coming back today, and we don't have kids yet, so I can't. I can only imagine how hard it must be to not only have kids, not only have 4 kids, but also have 4 daughters. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
especially being the dad, like having 4 daughters must be rough. And then you're doing everything else on top of it. Your job. You say your job kind of sucks. Like you hate it. And then you're talking about doing this podcast, and then you have a goal that you want to do, but then you also have a responsibility. Excuse me, as a
No,
father and everything. So it sounds kind of rough.
I mean, I make it probably sound a lot worse than it is, because really I have a really good life.
Oh, that's good.
Um, yeah, yeah, I complain. I'm like a professional complainer, basically,
Mm,
because it is a really good life, and my daughters give me the fulfillment that I don't get from my job. My wife does, my whole,
yeah.
my family. So I definitely make it sound a lot worse than it is, and a lot of people would probably really like to be in my position. So
Oh, okay. That's
it's a
good.
yeah, I got to throw some perspective on it. I'm
Yeah.
just being a little whiny person.
No,
Yeah.
I to be fair, I'm kind of the same way, and I don't think that that's necessarily bad because it shows your true colors and really what you want rather
Hmm.
than what people might think you want. I don't know. Like I'm under the impression, and I could be wrong about this, but I feel that especially a lot of guys, we're so stereotyped into just kind of doing the grind to where as long as we can show that we're making money or whatever it is, like it shouldn't matter what we feel or what we think just because like we're the guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So I think it's kind of cool that you're able to convey your feelings and your thoughts and everything on the different matters in your life in a way that, because I mean, like I wouldn't say it sounds like you're complaining. You're more so just like vocalizing, which I guess could be taken as complaining in a sense, but I don't see it as complaining because
Hmm.
it's not whiny. It's not like, oh, like I hate my life. This sucks. It's nothing like that. It's just yeah, I'm not a big fan of my job, and I have 4 daughters, and my dreams and aspirations and stuff are kind of put on hold because I have to. Excuse me, I have to work, and then I have to take care of my daughters and everything. So it's I don't know. It's just interesting, I guess. Like
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that you're vocal about your problems rather than kind of sucking it up and quote unquote being a guy, being the man.
Mm.
So
I could also, I think, so I'm a tax accountant, and we get really busy, obviously, during like filing deadlines, right?
yeah.
And just to take your point a little bit and expand it, it's not even just necessarily like a guy thing, because my manager at work, she will put in 100 hours easy a week on one
Oh
of
my
these busy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Easy.
wow.
And just assume that everybody should be doing, not, she doesn't assume everybody should be doing the same, but we get minimum hours put in that we have to be making, and it's
Yeah.
anywhere from 60 to 80 a week,
Jeez.
during those heavy weeks. But I get what you're saying, like, everybody, I don't know, because it's changed a little bit. Like management has started to recognize what am I trying to say? The mental, um, the
Mental
physio,
toll.
yeah, yeah, the mental toll, and the organization overall has done a really good job. But it's kind of that same idea you're talking about, that stereotype where just grind it out and do what's expected and just work,
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's why I get kind of questioning myself as whether or not I'm like just being a US American first world problem person,
Yeah.
because like I said, I've got a whole lot to be grateful for. But yeah, I would just definitely want to change some aspects. So
Yeah. And I don't feel like questioning yourself or, questioning what's going on is necessarily bad either. Because
sure.
I feel that when you question yourself and you ask, the questions, regardless of what they are, it helps you to kind of force yourself to be able to think of what you really want rather than, I'm just going to kind of go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I also just don't want to come off as not having
Oh,
gratitude
yeah.
for what I've done because,
Yeah.
like I worked my ass off to get this job and it just kind of the reality starts setting in year two. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's a job, so
yeah.
regardless of how much you like it, I think the grind and the monotony is going to kind of hit you after a while. So
Sure. And I'm a
yeah,
creative person, so tax accounting doesn't really allow for that.
ooh, yeah. It sounds like you
The-
should have gone down like YouTube or something like that.
yeah, I don't
Creation.
know. It's I'm a musician. That's just I'm not a
Hmm.
very good one and no, I'm kidding. It's just not a field that a lot of people are, I don't know. I say that, but like band members that I've had before are still if not nationally, globally touring, and
Hmm.
not just one of them. So it's really about the dedication. And if you work hard at something, you can make it about your life. I believe that.
Yeah.
Like the company I'm trying to start is going to be lifestyle based. It's not like I'm going to be out there funding Hawaiian vacations and shit for myself, but it's more of a if I don't do it every single day, I might not be successful with the company, which is why I call it a lifestyle business. I'm sure a lot of people do that as well, but yeah, that's basically what I'd like to shift from, not like this salary type of thing that
Yeah.
I'm in my third or fourth career now anyway. So
Wow.
yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah. So, what is your drive with music? Where did that whole inspirational music part come from, or has that always just kind of been a part of your life?
Um, well, so I think the entertainment aspect of it has always kind of been a part of my life. There's pictures of little me with a little plastic guitar out, like in family picnics and stuff.
Hmm.
And I can remember back 8, 9 years old, always being in like school talent shows for telling jokes or whatever, or some kind of whatever talent I thought that I could show off. I just always wanted to be, showing off, I guess is what you can
Yeah. Yeah.
say
Yeah.
really. But like 13, 14 years old, I start listening to Dude Ranch, Blink, and I start paying attention more to the guitar part of it and learning how bands are actual bands. Like I grew up my dad listened to like the Beatles and Rolling Stones and all
Hmm.
those classic rock bands that we call classic rock now, but ends up, all that stuff. So I never really put it together or saw pictures or videos because my dad wasn't a hardcore musician or anything. I mean, he didn't even play anything. He just he was the one who listened to music in the family.
Gotcha.
So I never saw like we didn't have MTV or anything growing up. I never saw music videos until I was about 12, 13, that impressionable age. And yeah, so Blink 182 Dude Ranch comes out. Um, I was living in Salt Lake City at the time, but I have a lot of family history in Southern California, so it was kind of just something that was swirling around our family,
Hmm.
talking and sharing with everybody the different kind of music. And I was hooked, and so I loved the how fast it was and how catchy it was. And so my cousin had happened to just pick up a drum set at a garage sale. His dad used to go to all these different
Okay.
garage sales, pick up whatever he could cheap. He got a drum kit, and I was over there one weekend, and he was saying he's going to form a band. He needed a guitar player, and that started it. So we went off, and that's a whole other story. But yeah,
So, man, it just sounds like it's always been there.
I
Yeah.
guess so. Yeah, some kind of something. Always. Yeah, in fact, I've got recordings on cassettes I made as like a 9, 10 year old, either singing into them or doing my own radio show, stuff like that. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool. That's
old
interesting.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the whole music business that you want to start, just
Mhm.
like what would you do? Like what would
Sure.
it be?
Well, I've started a couple already throughout. I let's see. So I'm 35 now, and I played in a band until I was 18, 19, 20, and then kind of fell out of playing music and got into the production side, the management side.
Okay.
I had a small record label that only did one release, but gave me experience. And then I've done talent booking at venues. I've
Uh,
worked and lived at a couple different venues in Salt Lake City. And so my business, basically, I wanted to open a small cap venue, and that means small capacity. So like,
okay.
because I grew up when I was playing in bands, they're called all ages venues, and they're places where teenagers could also go and catch a show.
Mm,
So they weren't bars. You're not serving alcohol or anything, and that's how I got my exposure to real, what I think about when I think about real music, not radio fed top, just whatever mass
hmm
media things want to give to you. And so um, getting into those local shows, I kind of wanted to always do that, have my own venue, because I always thought that I could do it, tweak it just a little bit
hmm
to my own vibe. So about 2 years ago, I was in a rural town in Colorado. We had bought a house out there. My wife and we'd moved to Colorado from Salt Lake City
Okay.
because it was more affordable. And I also just had to get out of Utah, but it was more affordable. And went back to school for accounting. So that's eventually how I got here. But
hmm
I started renting a little space on the main street in this rural Colorado town. And so I was opening a venue there, an all ages venue there, but I ran into problem with code. And I mean, the building was just, 150 years old, and I couldn't get it to the point where I could cram 150 kids in there
Yeah.
with the fire marshal, unless I wanted to spend like $15,000 on air ventilation. And I was moving in a year anyway. So I just said, screw it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Can I cuss, or would you prefer me not to?
You can do what you want.
Okay.
I don't want you to feel like you have to censor yourself in any way. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I was getting toward. So what I'm shooting for right now, in my 2 year goal, is that 150 capacity venue where we do $5 shows, just to explore local and regional Southern California bands, as well as anybody who'd care to play that small of a venue,
hmm
for regional and national touring bands. But then I had an idea of, I called it a Mario Cade, which was, are you familiar with how pool halls work? Like,
Not. I mean, like I know of them. I've
yeah.
never been to one, and I don't know how they like operate. So.
Yeah, so you go in and you just rent basically the balls. So you go in and pay, like, it used to, when I was growing up, it was $9 an hour, and you'd get your balls, you'd go over to a table, bring your own stick, or you could get a stick there, but it was $9 an hour to play pool, basically.
Okay.
And so I got this idea to get the old school projection big screen TVs that I grew up with in the 90s,
Yeah.
and have all the original cartridge video game consoles hooked up to them. So
Oh.
a regular 64, I mean, sorry, a regular Nintendo Super, a Nintendo 64, and a Sega.
Okay.
And I'd have those. And so for like $5 an hour, kids would be able to come in, and we'd have a wall of games that they'd be able to grab and play whatever they wanted on one of these things, as well as like a snack bar to go along with it. Just
Yeah.
basically a place for, just to come hang out. And if you want to play Nintendo, you can play Nintendo. And obviously, I would like to do that free, but um, I don't know. I'm not, like, this is way down the line. And I did so in Colorado, I started collecting these giant TVs, and still, because he never rented out the space after I left 2 years ago, there's still like 9 giant big screen TVs in that building.
Wow.
yeah, if you go by it, but it's still in there. So I wanted to do that in one section, have the venue in another section, a retail spot for DIY clothing brands and skate surf shop, because we're down here in San Diego.
Yeah.
Um, they what else? There was a couple of, oh yeah, and then just practice spaces. They're called lockout spaces, and the way bands practice in some of the bigger cities, because everybody lives in an apartment or whatever, they will rent out either an hourly, weekly, daily, monthly, uh, basically like a storage unit that's made soundproof in order for bands to practice.
Huh.
So yeah, I wanted like 10 of those, just a big building that had 10 of these in the back, the venue, the Mario Cade, the retail, and the snack bar. So that's
Man,
what we're shooting for. Yeah.
that sounds like a it sounds like almost like a headache to have to try and run everything.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously I'd need a lot of help,
Oh yeah.
but it's, and that's what I say. It's like a lifestyle thing, because none of them are huge money makers. You kind of have to
Yeah.
work all day, every day in order to make it work. So,
Yeah.
but I'd so much rather do that, and that feels like a weekend to me.
Yeah. No,
That kind of, yeah,
that's a really cool idea. Kind of bringing in people just to, experience. Like I love video games, and so when you said Mario Arcade, I was like, wait, what? Like this is going to be cool. I know it. And so the idea to be able to kind of like rent games, if you will, for an hour or whatever it is, and just kind of play and chill out with other people sounds like a fun
yeah,
idea. And then not
yeah.
to mention, you have these people who are playing music or doing
Mhm.
something musically, depending on how you have everything set up. It's kind of like you get to play video games or live music, if you will, and then you have this little section over here where people can like make their own clothes and whatnot. Like that's a really cool idea. It's very California. Like
Yeah.
it sounds very California, which is really neat, but it sounds cool. It sounds
I'm
like a
glad you
really good
dig it,
idea.
man. And
Yeah, I dig it.
you got the imagery too, though, because that's pretty much what I was imagining when I imagine walking in the door. You just have so much going on, but at the same time, you can be focused on something you want to do.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a Chuck E. Cheese but for older people.
Yeah, yeah, that's so good, dude. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's a cool idea. How do you so And you said this is all kind of like down the road and like in your mind, but
Mhm.
how would you go around starting that? I would assume that as like a tax person, you kind of have an idea, of like where to start. But I
Sure,
I know nothing about starting a business or even trying to get investments or anything like that. So how would you go about starting that?
sure, yeah. Well, how I am going about it. So there's a couple different ways, because back down in Colorado, it was very affordable to do certain things, but I didn't have the people around me. Like I listen to punk rock, but I'll mix in other kind of genres too. But I'm definitely not going to be listening to a bunch of country, and that's all I got
Oh,
calls for. Yeah,
yeah,
was
good,
to
good.
was to play a bunch of country music, and I had to say no over and over and over. But they were the only calls I was getting, so it's a bit different down there, where I could afford to easily set up, except for, like I mentioned, the um, ventilation
Hmm.
I had to put in, and I just didn't want to do that. So down here in San Diego, it's a little different, to where I am starting. I picked up, um, it's called the Tascam 238. It's an 8-track cassette recorder. So I'm still into recording music. So how I'm going to fund my little project, uh, by starting, because really all I need to do is get into a building, then I can put up a stage and just go from there.
Yeah.
We can just start getting bands in. So in order for me to do that, though, I need to find another way to at least make like a daily income or something. So I bought a cassette recorder. Now I say cassette, but it's a reel to reel, just like any traditional analog recording system that you record onto tape.
Yeah.
So I bought one of those, and I set up a little cassette recording studio that's mobile, and
Okay.
I just need to buy a few more mics, so I'm working on that right now. But what I'm going to be doing, because really it's about networking. Like, you cannot start this unless you know people in the scene.
Yeah.
So really all I want to do is start building a network, and possibly start managing bands as I build a little bit bigger of a network. And that's
Mm.
kind of how I envision starting, before I get the actual physical space, because who knows with COVID, to be honest.
Yeah.
So for now, I've got my little cassette recorder, and the machine it's so rad. But I'm gonna start. a label again, but dropping the just a special kind of release. It's just a cassette release, but I'm going to call them space cassettes, and they are. I'm going to record the bands at their practice spaces, wherever they practice, and just grab
Oh,
a quick
cool.
5, 6 song demo as tight as they can be, and just total DIY it because I've got a screen printing machine for shirts, and I've got my little cassette thing here in my cassette studio, basically. So I'm just going to start making releases there and, hawk them for $5 and give half of that to the band and half of it to me, and hopefully build up enough to continue. Because I've got a bunch of music equipment. I
Hmm.
don't need too much more. Basically, all I need is to find a place that will let me in.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. And like I said, the network.
Yeah.
So really, it's that just building and growing, trying to record people down in Southern California with my cassette setup. So
Gotcha. So I'm kind of curious as to your target audience, I guess you could say, because you say that you like punk rock and stuff. And I would assume that most of the bands that you would be recording and trying to help send out a demo and stuff would be probably within that realm, right?
pretty much like I do say punk rock because it gets me into it, but it has so many subgenres. And I mean, we even I like hip hop, I like metal,
Okay.
I like pop music, dude. Like my daughters, and this is crazy, but the music that Billie Eilish is releasing blows my mind. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, man, it's insane the kind of just the sounds that kids are making these days. So,
Hmm.
but then I also have friends who are into EDM and dance music. I'm not going to go recording them
Yeah.
because the releases that I want to make are pretty much tied. I call it guitar music.
Hmm.
Basically, I love guitar. I love catchy guitar, and
Okay.
so yeah, it's going to be along the lines of that. Math rock I'm really into, bands like Covet. Um, that's a pretty
Mm.
sweet band that I would never be able to get my hands on, but
Yeah.
that kind of music,
Okay.
math rock. Yeah.
So with that, you're trying to go for whatever genre it is and stuff, right?
Mhm.
When you would start this facility and you're getting all these people in there, are you trying to target that more towards kids in the sense of like teenagers, or are you trying to do something along the lines of like like a safe place for kids to come, or is it more so of like I just want anyone? Like, are you trying to go with a
Mm.
specific goal with that, or is it more just kind of open?
Well, as far as the facility, the Nintendo thing, I foresee adolescent to young adult,
Okay.
in that range, because I don't really think a bunch of 40-year-old, unless we did like a bar night or something. But I'm specifically kind of keeping alcohol out of it because I want kids to be able to hang out too. Like, and
Gotcha.
because I was exposed to such rad music and people through wholesome endeavors as a kid. That didn't necessarily, I say wholesome just because I mean no alcohol was around, or no,
Yeah.
there could have been, but it wasn't like being forced on anybody, and nobody
Yeah.
needed it to have a good time. I'm not like a straight edge or anything. I'm drinking a beer right now, but it's not. I just want a 13-year-old kid to be able to have her or his or their life changed by seeing live music.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good mindset to have. And like, I have nothing with alcohol, and I don't want to spend too long talking about this, but I will say this: I think it's good that you are more inclusive and you won't force that on people, because I feel that especially at a young age, alcohol is just such an influencer as
Hmm.
to what your life will become, if that makes sense. Simply like
Sure.
everyone thinks that if you drink alcohol, you're cool. And like I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying that at a young age, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't even really introduce them to that, because it can really mess them up with the development of their brain. If they take any in, it can really start to mess it up. So I think it's cool that you're doing that, because you're helping them to experience music and experience just awesome people, creating this music and an awesome atmosphere and video games and just people that might be like-minded. But
Right.
you're doing it in a way that is respectful of their development, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, without sounding too
Absolutely.
weird. I like it. I like it a lot, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I'm excited to see when that actually goes up. I would love to do what I can to at least help you with that. But
Sure, yeah. Just stay tuned. I talk that's what my podcast right now is about, is talking about it as often as I can, and trying to progress toward it. So yeah, I will definitely keep you in touch.
yeah.
And yeah.
So with let's just say, if things were on, I let me rephrase that because I don't want to sound negative. Let's just say, things are going the way that you want them to. Not saying that they're not right now, but it's on track the way that you envision it. How long do you see it coming to fruition? Like the facility coming into play and you being able to pretty much do what you want. Like 5 years?
Hmm. Well, I suppose my lifetime goal pretty much is to be able to surf every morning and hang out with my kids, and like, if I have somewhere that I need to be, or an obligatory scheduling matter, I want it to be because I made it, not because I'm working for somebody and have to go to work or something.
Gotcha.
So that's pretty much what I want to do, and I can see that happening as soon as I open the doors, as long as I'm getting people in there,
Yeah.
because I live in a vacation area. I don't really have to go anywhere to go. Like, imagine my awesome, successful vacation trips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I fought my ass off to get out here,
Mm.
from Salt Lake in Colorado. I've had this dream of coming out here for 10, 15 years. And so that right there to me is kind of already where I want it to be. Now, the day that I can give my resume, or my resignation, that's the that's the real that's my goal day. And I hope that's 2 years. So
Gotcha. Okay. So it kind of sounds like it's on hold until everything kind of
I'm
starts, if you will.
sort of, I mean, it's kind of on hold until I can either, like, what I'm trying to do right now is fund it through my cassette releases that I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
So I am, once I get, I need a, sorry, man, this is bad
No, you're
audio for a
good.
minute.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. So my plan, basically, to get to the day you're asking about is, right now I only have one microphone. It's a Sennheiser E609 guitar mic. So
Oh, okay.
it's instrument mic. It's
Yeah.
made for recording amplifiers. And so I'm playing guitar and trying to record like 5 or 6 songs onto a cassette, and then I want to sell that cassette for $5. And I have in my possession right now 300 old cassettes that I'm going to be recording my demo on. My goal is to sell those and rack up $1,500 to buy the rest of the mics that I need in order to start creating my space cassette releases, through the label. And then I hope to use those funds to be able to open the doors at the spot. Because, like I said, I've already got like speakers. I've got a stage back in Colorado still, and most of the heavy duty equipment that I need to get going. I just don't have microphones, and
Gotcha.
a
Okay.
few infrastructure things. Hang on. Sorry, beer is acting bubbly.
It's all good.
Um, yeah, but so what was I getting to? The day that you asked about. Yeah. So the day that I can buy those microphones, and start recording bands in their practice spaces, is really the start of the rock rolling down the hill. And
Gotcha.
yeah. So
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of curious because you have all these awesome ambitions and goals and
I know.
everything, and it sounds like with your job and all that, you're kind of held back a little bit. So I was just curious, like how progressive
Sure.
you see it going.
As a man, if somebody were to come to me today and be like, dude, I love your idea, and I've got like $15,000, let's get going, I'd be like, hell yeah, man, let's go. So I don't care. I'll leave, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'm also back in school again, this time for software development. And I should be graduating in the next 6 months from that. And, maybe
Nice.
that'll be able to let me take on the kind of creative work I'd like to do, because I'm not opposed to work. I just don't like what I do now.
Yeah. You're just looking for a change is all.
Yeah, I'd like to express that creativity.
Yeah. So with and this question could just be really dumb to ask, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. With you going through schooling now, you said you're gonna graduate and or be done in 6 months.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with the software development? Are you going to use that to help, like everything that you're envisioning, or is it just kind of like another avenue to go down until that comes?
Yeah, well, that really all depends on if I can attract any kind of business through bands or music that way. I mean, I've already got several app ideas running for musicians, like ideas that I've wanted from stuff. So I just kind of want to be able to have the ability to do what I want to do,
Oh,
you
okay.
know? Yeah.
That makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, I started studying accounting because I always knew that accountants are always being hired. Just from growing up and reading the classifieds, you always saw accountants. And so I started studying software last year because I saw my job being replaced by a computer, basically.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, yeah, when I shared actually, which, because I'm studying Java and C plus, C sharp, I'm sorry, my management group talked to me about, possibly creating a position within the group that I'm in right now. And I'm, as much as I love them, like, because the people rock, but I just, dude, I got to get out of there.
Yeah.
So, um, but what, yeah. So as far as software goes, yes, I'm gonna do whatever I can. I just love, like, the more that I learn about computers, the more fascinating it is to me. So it's almost a degree of passion.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So yeah,
Cool. Um, so I want to kind of change gears just a little bit.
sure.
You sound like you're one of those very typical Southern Californian surfer dudes. Am I correct in saying that?
You know what? I actually grew up in Utah, but I surf now as
Yeah.
as often as I can. My first time surfing was 13, 14 up in Santa Cruz. But like I said, I've always had family connections down here, and I've spent a lot of time in Southern California my whole life. And
Gotcha.
now that I'm down here, I guess I kind of just embraced it.
Because you just sound so laid back and chill, just like, you know, surf supper. I,
Nice.
I don't think you guys say that anymore, but you just sound very just Southern Californian. It's just kind of funny to me because you were talking about how a perfect day for you would, yeah, I would love to wake up in the morning and go surfing. I was like, yeah, this is one of those typical Southern California dudes. I like it. I like it.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, it's pretty true. I had my breakfast burrito today already. I don't
Nice.
yeah, I don't surf on the weekends because there's too many people out there. But
Hmm.
yeah, typically I'm on the beach by like 6 or 7 in the morning uh, to get that first hour in, and
Wow.
then yeah, make the rest of the day. So
That's funny. I like how you also I one of the questions is what do you enjoy doing in your pastime? And you said I'm also very lazy and end up watching TV or scrolling into pop culture. And I'm like, wait, what? Like
yeah,
you sound like me. You sound like
I,
me.
I yeah, man. It's people want to be entertained.
Oh
It's
yeah.
I'm addicted to cartoons. I love, like, Simpsons. I'll watch every single Simpsons every single day. I don't care. So
Wow.
yeah, I watch pretty much that, to be honest.
Hmm.
And I'll jump into series and just kind of, I hate it because I do try to go on like media blackouts and just be like, I can feel my mind turning into mush.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
ever since the invention of the smartphone, dude, it is so hard for me to put that thing down.
Oh, I know. It's so
So
bad. It was so
yeah.
nice. Um, there was a time in my life when I was at university and I was able to study abroad, and I was in Germany for a bit. And I didn't want to buy a SIM card that would work out there because I knew one, I would be way too addicted to my phone, and I didn't need that. I was in Europe. Heck, I wanted to go experience nature and all of that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it was so rewarding to not it like I had my phone on me so I could take pictures and I could do whatever I needed to do on it, like play a game if I was on the train if I really wanted to, but I never felt myself reaching for it for the 3 months that I was in Germany and around Europe. I never felt myself, like I could feel it in my pocket, but my hand wasn't going for it. And it was so nice and so rewarding to not feel so connected to that
Hmm.
phone while I was there for a bit. When I came back to the States, people are like, "Yeah, I'll just give you a text." And I was like, "I can't wait. I can text now." It was so nice to not be so
Hmm.
bound and connected to some stupid phone. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, it's really nice to have now because if I needed to, I could excuse me. I drank some Dr Pepper right before we started. I'm still getting those burps. It sucks. But like if I needed to right now, I could call my wife. I mean, like she's on an airplane, but you know, if I needed to, I'd pick up my phone. Boom, I'm connected with someone. You know,
Yeah.
like there's something that I want to find out about Russia. Boom, right there on my phone. But at the same time, not having the phone, not having that instant connectivity to the rest of the world is so
Mhm.
nice, and it's so just what's the word? Revitalizing.
Hmm.
it
That's a
it
good one.
feels so good to just not have that. I wish I had your strength and I was able to say no. I want to set this
Oh,
phone
bro.
down, have a blackout. Like, oh my goodness, I wish I could do that, but I can't.
Oh, hey, I can't either. They don't last very long lately.
Oh man.
They, yeah, I've done better with things like, oh, so I don't, I, they tried to talk me into getting an Instagram, so I popped on there for a minute, but then I got back off just for the podcast. So I don't really like that. The only thing I do have is Twitter and a Reddit that I use
Oh
Reddit
yeah.
generally for um, research and kind of, you get a lot of good stuff on Reddit, a lot of good answers for things,
Yeah.
a lot of different perspective. But then also I can scroll that thing for hours because people are just fascinating. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's been really difficult, and um, my last ditch effort to finally get this going. One of my daughters, we have, and this might sound just so incredibly crazy, but 10-year-old is our age around here to get a phone
Hmm.
because they're pretty responsible and they're just good kids. So
Yeah.
what I'm doing at my next daughter, she'll turn 10 in June, and I am going to give her my phone, and I'm going to go back to a flip phone, man, so I can like make
Wow.
sure that shit happens. Yeah. So, because
Nice.
I got to, man, I'm wasting so much of my life to a screen. It sucks.
Oh, I wish. Oh, I want a flip phone so bad. I
Do
miss
it.
those days of being able just to like flip it open, give a call, close it, done. Don't have to think about it
Yeah.
again.
Even hang up,
Oh,
frustrating.
oh, I know. It's so annoying sometimes when like I don't know about you, what kind of smartphone you have, but I have a Google Pixel,
So do
the
I.
newer ones, one of the newer ones. And so whenever I hold it up to my head and actually talk, the screen goes black. And when I
Mm.
pull it away, sometimes the screen stays black. So then I have to like go through unlocking the phone again just to end it. And it's
Oh
like, no,
yeah.
dude, I just want to end it. Why can't I close you? I just want it to be done.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, that's a good point. Not to
Uh,
mention Google's predicted text is just terrible.
oh, it
I don't know.
is. Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, not my favorite. So that's a plan because I am just, man, life is wasting away
Yeah.
on that screen.
I
So
get that. And then not to mention, you have four daughters who are probably super into social media. So you have that
mhm.
influence on you as well.
Yeah, they
Oh
are
man.
they're a little TikTokers, that's for sure.
Maybe they'll become the next what's her name? Charlie D'Amelio or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, that would be kind of cool. Like all of a sudden one of them blows up on TikTok and there you are being the dad and you're like, "Yeah, give me some of them royalties, girl." Like, come
Oh
on.
man. They are interesting in the worlds that they jump into. They're really into Roblox and Minecraft, and then yeah, they get into like TikTok and the different YouTubes. They've wanted to start a channel forever, and I mean, I'm definitely supportive of pretty much whatever they want to do. And man, the kids, the way that they interact with the world outside of the screen is just so different from even 5 years ago. The kids that I've known, from 5 years, like my nieces, nephews, it, of course, that's always the case, but it's kind of the two sides to the blade are like, they're just being forced to grow up so fast.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And then everything, like my kids are still afraid of murder hornets for whatever
Wow.
reason.
I mean,
Yeah, they
those aren't
think,
even in California.
I know, but
Oh my
TikTok
gosh.
makes it seem like they're gonna just kill everybody or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. A little overexposure there too. Got to chill that out.
Yeah, no kidding. Would you consider yourself a very outdoorsy person?
Yeah, I mean, we camp a lot. We camped in the desert about 3 or 4 weeks ago. When I did live in the Rocky Mountains, I was constantly running mountain trails. So
Gotcha.
yeah, I'm outdoors.
So with that, Because I'm looking here and it says you like sailboats and stuff.
Yeah, that's yeah
Would
our
you?
goal.
So what? Would you buy a sailboat and try and go cross ocean? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, trans ocean,
Transocean?
transoceanic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lifetime goal of mine. So
How
to
does
make one of those passages.
how does one go about that?
Well, dude, there's so many cool ways to go about this. So, speaking of Reddit, I actually met my first friend with a boat out here on Reddit. So
Really?
I was on a, yeah, I was on a sailing, what are they called?
Um,
Sub.
okay.
So I was on a sailing Reddit sub and somebody was talking about something and I was like, "Oh man, that's so cool. Can I ask you a few questions?" Blah blah blah. So we started up a little private chat and come to find out he's in San Diego and I'm like, "Well, this is he invited me to go sailing." I was like, "Dude, I aren't you not supposed to go even meet internet strangers, let alone go out in the middle of the ocean with them?"
Yeah, yeah.
I may never come back. So, but we did. My wife and I went and joined Dell and his wife and her sister, and we had a blast in
That's
San
so
Diego
cool.
Bay. Yeah. So he taught me some stuff. My dad was in the Navy growing up. I was not military. So I've got this idea. My wife has her own little hustle she's trying to get going on. If she's successful at that, I'm walking down to the ports the next day because I won't have to work my job anymore and
Hey,
volunteering to go work on a ship because I need a lot. I need to learn a lot.
yeah,
But that's yeah, and we need our kids to be out of the house. So
true. Oh, you there?
yeah, sorry, man.
No,
I'm
you're all
trying
good.
to
No
mute it
worries.
because I had the beer coming back up on me too,
No worries. I
and
like
so I muted.
my screen like went black for a second. I was like, wait, what just happened? Did he leave? Like,
No,
uh-oh.
I shared my screen. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. No worries. No worries. Um,
But I'm in the dark here in the closet.
in the closet. Why aren't you out in the living room or something like
This
that?
is my recording studio, man. This is where I do mine. Yeah,
I
it's
like
really
that.
cool.
I like here. I'll show you. I'll kind of show you what I got going on. Hold on.
Sure.
Let me see. How do I turn on video?
I
No,
think
cannot start. Is that
no.
it? Oh, hold on. Why the frick
That's
won't you
fine.
go? Fail to start. Please select another video. Dude, that's a nice. Hey, I like that.
This is the little cassette recorder thing. And then yeah, this is my board and where I get the work done. So
Nice.
and that's me. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? Hold on one second. I'm trying to get mine to work and it ain't working.
Huh.
Advanced? Hold on.
Might
Let
have.
me. Because I mean that's the camera that I got. What the frick, dude? Maybe I disabled. Hold on.
Yeah, didn't allow it or something.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, let me unplug it real quick. Give me a sec. Oh, oh no, I know what it is. So the program that I use to record, I've also like I dabble in the whole like Twitch streaming and like YouTube stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
Just for
Okay.
fun, like I was super into it a while ago, but just recently I decided that I need to take my advice and quit just doing it to do it and try and figure out something to do. And so I kind of quit for a bit just to. I'm so sorry. I still have those Dr. Pepper burps.
You're
And
good.
and so I took a step back and like I'm just kind of chilling. I use OBS if you know what that is. And
Sorry, you quit Twitch?
I didn't
Or what did
necessarily quit Twitch. I just kind
uh-huh.
of took a step back because
Oh, okay.
my um my advice that I give everyone is start it if you want to, but you need to try and have some sort of content, some sort of something to give people because if you just click start and you just play games, no one cares, no offense. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just doing that. I need to actually figure out what I want to do. And so I
Got it.
decided to take a step back, quit doing it. Um, for now at least, maybe I'll get back into it, maybe I won't, but I need to try and come up with something. Anyway, long story short, I use OBS, and whenever I have OBS up, that's when the camera will not work on other programs. So
Mm.
hold on, let me see if there's a way that I can disable this because my setup's pretty cool. I have flags. Like I said, I traveled
Nice.
around a lot, so I have some flags that are hanging out from the different countries I've been to.
So was that all during when you were studying abroad, or are you a traveler outside of that?
Um, so I've traveled a little bit, like Canada and stuff, before I studied abroad.
Hmm.
but I've only traveled to different countries while I was studying abroad, if that makes sense.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
just I just haven't been able to find the time or have the money to be able to go, say travel to Iceland or something like that, and then use
Mm.
that as like a port to go to the rest of Europe. I just haven't been able to do that, sadly. Frick, I
Sounds
can't.
really cool though.
What I'll do is when we're done, I'll end the recording and then I'll show you real quick like my setup because for whatever reason I can't do that.
Hmm.
Anyway, um, so kind of going back to the whole ship thing,
Oh yeah.
what kind of was your desire to do that? Because I understand that there are people that have aspirations and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like for example, let's just say someone wants to be an astronaut or something like that. Like you have those aspirations and whatnot. But sailing is a little different, especially someone who wants to go across the world. So like, or at
I
least across the ocean.
Yeah, well, I want to live on a sailboat actually. A friend of mine out here already does that, and so he just, well, his dad anyway. I was trying to buy their boat eventually, but it's a little out of my range.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they just live in the harbor, and then they're able to, pull up anchor and go underway whenever they want to. Um, but yeah, my wife and I just kind of we both grew up in snowy areas, and we never really care to see snow again. Um,
Gotcha.
and I'm just I have my ideology, and I'm pretty much over this country, at least the way that it's going. I'm not a fan um, of the wealth gap, and I see it every day, and I just see it like we have an oligarchy, and it's not even being feigned anymore. It's in our faces, and
Yeah.
we just it just grows and grows and grows, and it just disgusting to me, and I don't really want to be a part of it anymore. So that's kind of where the wanderlust of wanting to go across the oceans and everything are there. But then
Mm.
I'm scared, and excuse me for the blue language, man, but I am scared shitless of the ocean. But I spend a lot of time in it. I'm not,
Yeah, yeah.
and I it just scares me so badly that I feel like I have to do that to control my mind. I have to put in one transoceanic passage.
Wow.
And not only that, it's just, yeah, I don't know, man, what is calling me out there. I just really have always been drawn to it. Every time I've been on a boat, it's probably one of the happiest times of my life.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I just think it's like a different thing. I've just always wanted to be a pirate, I guess.
I agree with you with the whole country thing. Um, I wish that I would be able to leave the country. I don't think that that will ever happen because my wife is definitely someone who is, yeah, like my family. I want to be there when they get old, that kind of thing. I want to be
Hmm.
close to them. I love my family. And nothing against that, like I'm not a family person. I love my family and like I'm close to my brothers and my parents and stuff, but at the same time, if I don't see them for a long time, it doesn't bother me. Um, so I say all that to say that I agree with you with the country is kind of in shambles right now. The wealth gap is huge, and while I have my own thoughts about that, I wish I could leave. My original plan was before I met my wife was to actually travel Europe, find someone in Europe, and then settle down and get married. Like that was my goal. And so, I mean, I love my wife, but dang it, like that would have been such a cool story to tell my kids.
Uh,
But yeah, I understand your desire to get away. I keep telling my wife, hey, if things get worse, like we're straight up going to Canada. Like we'll still be
mm,
close to your family. We can visit them whenever, but we are going to leave. If it gets worse, and
yeah.
I I can see it getting worse, just because of all the proposed plans that are coming in place. Like I was speaking with and I'm sorry, I hate getting into politics, I really do, but I will say this. Um, I can't remember who I was speaking to. I was speaking with someone, and they were talking about the new tax plan that's coming in place, and I said, like the idea of it isn't necessarily bad. Like the wealthy should pay fair taxes, blah blah blah. Like however you want to put it. But at the
Hmm.
same time, once they start making a certain amount of money and then they get taxed so much on that money, they're going to leave the country. There's no
Mm,
reason that a big corporation that's raking in millions and millions of dollars every year. Like, here's the thing. I don't know if the tax thing will go for individuals or businesses or whatever it is. But I would assume that if it's an all-encompassing tax plan, all these people that make all this money, they're going to leave the country because they care more about money than the goodness of other people. You know what I mean?
Or unless they renounce their citizenship, though, you always have to pay U.S. taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
So
know.
unless they say, and renouncing your citizenship is a pretty serious thing.
Yeah. So
Um,
I like,
but
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's fine. I see it like I have multimillionaire clients that I filed tax forms before that have a $900,000 bill on them. So I definitely see the reality of that on the daily, just about.
Yeah.
In fact, we have more people coming back this year than we had leaving the previous couple of years. But
Wow.
as far as oh man, yeah, there's just a mess. Now, I'm not opposed to taxes because we need them obviously, and
Yeah.
I'm not even opposed to higher taxes. I mean, if you talk about probably a lot of the countries you went to had pretty high income tax.
Yeah.
So if they leave the country, I mean, let them is my opinion, because it will either, I mean, man, let's look at the Ways and Means Committee, the people in Congress who actually make tax law.
Mm-hmm.
The amount I did a report on this a few years ago about the amount of Congress people who leave the Ways and Means Committee to immediately go into onto the board of a company that they changed tax law to benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So unless like the proposed tax laws are made by the people who we are talking about would hypothetically leave the country. So I'm not sure who you're talking to either, but I think there should be a little bit more reading into the tax reform, Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, if that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like I said, I'm just not very educated on it. And like, I try to not form opinions because I personally just, this is going to sound awful, but like, I just don't care about politics enough to really look into them. It's
no,
just,
dude, that's why I'm frustrated too, though, is because it doesn't matter what we know. The power is so out of our hands. Like
yeah.
everybody says, vote, vote. Yeah, fuck, whatever, dude. It is,
Yeah.
it is so far out of the people's hands. It's a joke, and that's what kind of bums me out. So
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off, man.
No. It's totally fine. Like I said,
I don't think it's a bad thing to not necessarily know that much, because honestly, we're powerless, dude.
yeah. And like, I try and stay as optimistic as possible because I would like to assume that people in office or in government are doing what they can for us and not trying to undermine us. Like, again, I haven't really looked into it. I just heard a lot of people, say that one of the big reasons that, the whole stimulus bills and stuff, or stimulus welfare checks, whatever they are, since coronavirus has been a thing, like we only got the one. The reason that we haven't gotten more is because both sides are trying to throw in hidden agendas or hidden things to try and pass. And I'm like, why would you do that? Why not just pass the money so then we can get some relief? And like,
Yeah.
of course, then there's the whole thing about like, well, if they're doing that, then you're just going to have to pay more taxes and like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Here's the thing. I'm very in the middle in terms of politics, and I could care less about who's in office and whatever happens. Like, I'm in it for trying to help my fellow brother or sister out, and if that means that I'm inconvenienced a little bit more because I might have 5% tax increase, like, yeah, that really sucks. But I would hope, and this is the optimistic part of me, I would hope that extra 5% is going to someone or something that genuinely needs it, and not to line someone's pockets because they're lazy, or not to, line the government's pockets or whatever it is. Like, if I knew, like, if there was, my wife and I were actually talking about this, if there was a tax breakdown and it said 5% of your taxes went here, 10% here, and it listed out every single cent that was going to where it was, I would feel better about it all. But we're so in the dark with it all. And it scares me.
Yeah, itemized receipt would be pretty sweet, right?
Yeah.
No, there's There, we can read the budgets if you wanted to.
That's true.
Yeah, they're out there, and if you actually read the tax forms, it'll tell you what you're being taxed on. And then if you read the publications on that tax line, it'll tell you exactly
Oh,
how much is going where. So it's the information's actually out there.
oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, it's out there, man. And all the stuff about the added percentages and all this about these coming stimulus packages, the personal payments that we're receiving, that's going to be deducted from your refund anyway,
Yeah, that is
already.
true. That is
So,
true.
and then as far as the incremental adjustments, like adding, I don't know. I guess I have to read up on that one too, so I'm not going to comment on that. But
Yeah.
but to your point, like we have no control of what's going on here, and it would be so much better to. I've always been a proponent of voting by policy instead of by person, and I don't
Oh,
understand
yeah.
why we don't do that. Like we have the technology to be able to do that.
Yeah. And this is the last thing I say about it because I actually really hate politics, but I feel like we're doing a good job at trying to be, as middle as possible. And the one thing I hated about this election, and just hear me out. I don't care for Trump. I don't care for Biden. I hated the fact that people were attacking Trump over coronavirus numbers. They were attacking Trump over I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but whatever it wasn't about his policies. It was about who he was as a person. I understand that we shouldn't have, people are claiming he's racist and a bigot and all this. And of course, like I wouldn't want that either. But if you look at the policies, I would personally pick Trump's policies over Biden's policies. That's just my opinion. Again, I actually didn't vote because of registration issues, just so you know. But I say all that to say there is so much social media crap and there is so much just official news. The newscasters and stuff, they would talk about this and they would say, yeah, Trump did this with the coronavirus. You shouldn't vote for him. And I'm like, excuse me, what? Like, I understand that maybe he didn't handle that the best, but you have to look at his policies. You have to look at what he has actually done rather than what, I don't know. It's such a muddy area, but I agree with you. I think we need to look at policies more than we need to look at the person.
Sure.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you want to say anything else real quick before I move us away from that?
Not specifically. Like, I mean, if we're talking pandemic policies alone, I think there could have been a lot more
I agree.
not only foresight, because he did shut down the epidemic council that Obama had put in place before him. So that's kind of a bad move. And then I will never agree with any Stephen Miller policy, and Trump does. So I definitely wouldn't go that way.
Yeah.
And then pandemic wise, like, yeah, these things were unforeseen, and we don't even. God, it's such a mess. All I can say is I'm glad I'm not in charge, and I wrote in my wife for president. So
Did you really?
yeah, she's not 35 though, so it didn't count.
Oh, right. Cool. So moving away from politics because,
yes, please. I hate
like
it
I said,
too,
I
man.
hate
really
politics. I do think though that was really good because I feel like we're kind of on the same page, at least for the most part, which is good.
At least being able to listen. That's all I care about.
Yeah, at least being able to listen. Here's the thing, and I'm sorry, I'll say this, but if you can listen to what someone is saying, not cut them off and let them express whatever it is, and then you can take that and be like, I might not agree with this, but that's okay. That's what we need to be as a society and as a group of people. We need that.
I agree.
Anyway, let's move on. I want to ask you about one more
that's
thing.
Good stuff, man. Totally agree. Yeah, go ahead.
You want to start to hike the Pacific Crest Trail.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So my grandpa lived in Burbank, California. And so that's Southern California, like Los Angeles area. And he worked in the San Gabriel Mountains,
Gotcha.
which so the Pacific Crest Trail is let me try to, how do I explain this? Do you know what the Appalachian Trail is?
Yes.
Okay, so that's on the East Coast. This is the West Coast version, and it goes from Mexico to Canada. And it basically follows a ridge line, but it's a hikeable trail. Like you can hike all the way from Mexico to Canada. And that's just kind of like one of my transoceanic things of wanting to do these, I guess, outdoor feats or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in Colorado, I was constantly climbing up, trying to peak mountains and stuff like that. So
That's really cool.
just one of those things. Yeah, and that's kind of my grandpa. He worked along the trail, um, but even without him, it was always something that I kind of wanted to do.
So this is a really stupid. You know what? Hold on. Let me look this up. So
You got
then
to
this
stop
question's
saying that,
answered.
man. You have
I'm
good
sorry.
questions.
Well,
No,
I was going to say, is the Pacific Crest Trail like in California, Oregon, and Washington? Is that what that one
yes,
is? Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, that was kind of a stupid question. I should have known that because I
No,
lived in Oregon for 3 years and then I'm in Seattle. I should know that. But I would. I want to do that as well. I think that it
nice.
would be beautiful because Oregon, the Oregon coast, oh my goodness,
Hmm.
man, it is gorgeous. I don't know if you've been there before, but there is something about the Oregon coast that is just orgasmic, if you will. Like it's so just visually stunning.
Dude,
I
the whole state of Oregon is
Woohoo!
crazy.
Yeah, well, at
Like,
least at least from like I-5 west and then a little bit east. But like once you
no,
really
yeah, sorry. Yeah, well, yeah, because we drove. Um, wait, maybe is Mount Hood in Washington? Mount Hood's Oregon, right?
Mount Hood's in hold on. Mount
Oregon,
Hood.
right before.
Yeah, it should be in Oregon, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Oregon, yeah.
we drove one winter. We had to drive up to SeaTac to drop off my sister-in-law, who's in the Navy. So we drove from Salt Lake City to SeaTac,
Wow.
and yeah, it was crazy. So we took 15 to Boise, and then took the 84
Hmm.
all the way up, and then the 84 to cross over to get over to. I think we took that past like Mount Hood in Portland, and
Hmm.
just that east side of Oregon, though, the farmland,
Mm.
and dude, it was incredible. The beauty of the United States blows me away every time
Yeah.
I'm in a new place. Even the flyover states. I spent some time in Kansas on a drive one time, and
Hmm.
I was like, dude, this place is insane. But
Yeah.
yeah, the Oregon as a state is just gorgeous. So
Yeah.
agree with you there.
Yeah, it's so pretty. I lived in Salem, Oregon for a while, which is about 40 minutes, 45 minutes south of Portland if you're speeding. And
Mm.
uh it was so cool because I was about 45 minutes west, so 45 minutes east of me was beautiful mountains that I could go hike.
Mm.
There's this one trail, it was called Triangulation Peak, and when you would get out to the trailhead and actually get up to the top, it overlooked, you could see Mount Hood, you could see the Sisters, which are just some really tall, beautiful peaks.
Yeah.
You could probably look that up and actually see Triangulation Peak
Oh, cool.
views, and you can actually see it all. But it was just such a beautiful hike. And once you get past that point, though, it's just like desert. And so that's why I say, because I'm a big, giant mountain fan. I love the mountains. I love
Sure.
forests. I love trees. Like one of my favorite things in the world is being in the forest just after it finished raining and smelling everything and seeing that green hue that the forest has because of the rain and
Hmm.
the sun shining, reflecting off of the water on the leaves, and then it kind of just illuminates. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
And the
And
sound in
oh
after
yeah,
something like that, you know?
yeah, all the drips from the water hitting the ground, and then the birds come out, and might be able to hear a couple deer. Like, oh my goodness, man, it's just beautiful. But I say all that to say, it's a beautiful state. Oregon is so beautiful, and hiking that Pacific Crest Trail is amazing. I've always wanted to do, and I don't know how or when. I guess I'll be able to do it. I might have to plan it out, but I want to do the what's it called, the I-5 trail or whatever, where you go from like the most northern point of I-5, like the tip of Alaska, all the way down to the tip of Argentina.
Whoa, no, I've
Yeah.
never heard that.
It
That's
was
crazy.
it was so cool. I was driving north one day. I was heading up to see my in-laws from Seattle, and I was actually pretty close to no, it was my wife and I, we were going on our honeymoon up to Canada, and we were driving, we were pretty close to Canada actually, and there was this motorcycle, and it looked not like a American motorcycle, if that makes any sense. It just looked really beat up. And a lot of people that drive motorcycles are all like shiny and pristine. This was just like a dirt bike, if you will. And it was this guy from Brazil, And the
Whoa.
only thing that I can think of is that he started in Argentina, or at least in Brazil, and was trying to go as far north as possible, trying to do that drive. And I was like,
Mm.
man, dude, you go for it. That's what I want to do. I want to see the rest of the states. I want to see Mexico and South America. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
It'd be
for
so
sure.
neat.
That dude, Ethan Hawke, that actor,
Yeah.
him and a buddy rode motorcycles across from, like you're saying, from Canada back, no, to Europe, from Canada to Europe. So they crossed the Bering Strait when it was frozen over and everything.
Wow. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
I know,
I would
dude.
love to do that.
Yeah, good
I've
stuff, man.
I've wanted to I wanted to do that, cross the Bering Strait, and then there was one other one that I've really wanted to do. What is it? Because as you were talking about, oh no, it was who was the musical artist that walked from California to New Jersey?
What? I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Avicii because Rip Avicii. Oh my goodness, who was it? Mike Posner. I
I
think
don't
is how
even
you
know.
say his name. You should look him up. But he walked on foot from California all the way to New Jersey, and he documented most of it. Like there's
Oh,
videos I remember seeing when he was in the middle of like Nebraska or wherever the frick he was. You know, he's just like, "Yep, I'm walking through some cornfields, like on some dirt road in the middle of nowhere. You can't like." He's like, "I seriously have no clue where I'm at. I just know that I have to go this direction." And it's so cool to see him, you know, document all of this. And then, you know, a couple weeks later or months or however long it took, he's like, "Yep, I'm on the beach in New Jersey." And he just pans out and he's like, "I've done it." It's so cool. You should look into it.
I
It's
will, man.
it's
That
so
sounds
neat.
really cool.
Um, but yeah, that's I wish I
Oh yeah,
hope.
looks he got bitten by a rattlesnake in Colorado.
Yeah, that's
Looks
what it
like
was.
what he.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that's so crazy.
And then he
Thanks
still
for
did
sharing
it.
that, man. I will. Yeah,
Yeah, look
huh?
into it.
I
Um,
will.
I wish the best of luck though with your sailing and your desire to go hiking. I feel like those are good ambitions because a lot of people nowadays they're so into the idea of I want to make money and retire. They don't think of just awesome, extravagant,
Mm,
over the top things that they want to do, and they live kind of stuck in their bubble. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, I do. I do. We're pretty minimalist. Our gifts are usually experiences, like to the
Mm,
kids and everything. So I
that's
get you.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, what I'll do is I'll give you a moment to shout anything out that you want to shout out. Um,
Mm.
your podcast, social media, whatever it is.
Sure. Let's see. So the podcast is called Ellipsis. It's on most platforms, probably all of them. The only thing I really do is Twitter, and that handle is at least they tried underscore. So least they tried underscore. uh, I don't know. Let's see what else. Yeah, I'm just trying to get this recording studio going, and as soon as I have um, anything going on there, I'm gonna be making releases as often as I can once I have the proper equipment. And yeah, it's a 2-year goal. I am
Yeah.
100 and like 5 or 6 days into the 730-day journey, so
Mm.
got about 600 days to go.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Thanks, man. I will definitely keep you updated as we
Yeah,
as we
yeah.
go.
I would love that. I'll follow you on Twitter, and then hopefully you post there so I can at least see what's going on. That'd be sick.
Cool. Yeah,
Uh,
I definitely do.
So after this, after we hang up, well, first once I say goodbye and end the recording, don't leave because I at least want to show you my flags. That'd be cool. And then once we like stopped communicating, go ahead and email me all of the links and stuff they want me to put in the notes. So then it's
Sure.
just copy paste, easy, boom, done.
Yep.
But I want to ask you one more question though,
Yeah, go for it.
and this is the
But first,
question.
sorry, let me say, man,
Yeah, yeah.
you have a great podcast voice,
Oh, thank
and
you.
your energy is really good, dude. Because I came in a little bummed out, obviously, and you really helped me turn it around, man. So I just gotta
Oh,
say thank you.
thank you. That's so. I'm going to boast a little bit. I'm gonna brag a little bit. That makes me feel good because I don't hear a lot of feedback, and so when I do get that, it's like I know that what I have set out to do is starting to come to fruition. So I'm glad that I was able to help you. Um, and then
Hell yeah,
there,
keep it going.
oh, dude, thanks. It makes me so excited, you know, because one of the reason I started this is because I like to just learn people and understand them. Of course, you know, like I want to help others out. However that works is how I want it to, happen. I want people to be helped out in one way or another. But one of the the reasons I started this is because I like to understand people. I like to just understand how they think and
Sure.
the psychology behind who they are and why they want to do what they do. Like that's just cool to me. You know, like that's why I asked you why do you want to do a transatlantic frick? I can't speak. Uh Journey.
Oceanic.
Oceanic. There we go. Like why do you want to do that? And then you explain it. I'm like, that's cool. Like, it's just the way people think is awesome to me. Like I feel that we don't have enough human interaction right now to be able to experience that, but just in general, we don't have a lot of, I'll say, archived talks to where you can genuinely see the thought process behind someone's goals or ambitions or what they want to do.
Hmm.
And so like I said, I started this podcast because of that. But thank you
That's
for your
really
kind
cool.
words.
Yeah,
It
well,
really means a lot.
yeah, it's evident when you listen. So yeah, good job, man.
Oh, thank you. And then this is the last thing that I want to ask you, and then we'll start to part ways.
Sure.
Um, I ask this of everyone that comes on the podcast, and like I just explained, I like to understand people. And this question, I really feel embodies that idea. Then that question is, what is like a piece of advice or a saying or like a memo or something, that has stuck with you throughout the years, or something that you've really held on to that you feel like um, someone can use or feel like someone needs to hear?
Mhm. Um, that's always always going to be a matter of perspective, I think. And I'll give you an example. I being a parent is hard, especially I mentioned I'm 35. I had my first daughter when I was 23. So I was a kid still.
Mm-hmm.
I was, still drinking too much because I didn't drink till I was 21, but then when I did, I really went into it.
Yeah.
But I was just still being a knucklehead, basically. And as she was growing up, and as I had the rest of my kids and everything, and they started getting to those, how do I put this? There were circumstances that came along that I only had the perspective at the time as a parent, and I kind of forgot what it was like to experience what my daughter was going through as somebody her age.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I like, let's just say something that I was angry about
Mm-hmm.
as a parent, um, when I take a step back and I think about like when you were 7, when I was 7, when I was 8, what was I thinking when I was going through something like this? And when I take that minute or a second or whatever it may be to understand that whoever I'm talking to, whoever I'm interacting with isn't me, and they're not my age and they're not thinking the way I am, like what are they actually thinking? So just taking that minute to think about who you're talking to and what they are possibly trying to express may not be done through words or actions because they might be emotionally confused about what's going on too.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of uh, patience, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Patience, man. Yeah, that's. I guess that's my final answer is to have patience. So
Patience. Yeah. And we
yeah,
definitely need patience in today's world. It-
sure.
yeah, that's good. Um, awesome. Well, thank you, Johnny, so much for speaking with me for this hour that we've had together. Hour, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you so much for having me, man. I,
yeah.
I was pretty nervous, but like I said, you're very accommodating. So
Oh,
thank you.
thank you. I wish you the best with your business and everything. Honestly,
Thank
like
you.
it's such a cool idea. I really do like it. If I had money, I would be that person that'd be like, here you go, boom. Like
Right.
I would definitely invest in that because I see the value in it. I honestly do
Sure.
because not only are you helping musical artists, you're also helping kids, kind of have a safe place, if you will,
Hmm.
a place where they can just kind of be themselves. You're helping people who have, ambitions when it comes to like clothing. You have
Yeah.
people that have
Yeah.
ambitions with music. Like it's just such a cool
Design.
idea. Design, yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. So I really do wish the best for you in that because it's a good idea. I
Thank
don't
you.
I don't see how people haven't done that before.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm kind of borrowing from several different existing things, because I have a I was in a band that practiced at a practice space. I played I got the idea for the Mario-cade from a pool hall. Coffee shops. Growing up, I would go to this coffee shop that the radio station had a broadcast booth in the dining area.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, so I wanted to do something like that. So it's just, I'm definitely just borrowing, I'm sure, existing ideas, but I just want to put my own flair on it, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I get that.
And like I said, I'm going to start recording stuff. So when people say that they would like to help, I'm going to be able to have I'm not going to do a Kickstarter or anything like that, because I want to give something tangible back. So these little DIY recordings I'm doing, those are going to be my way of a Kickstarter, basically. So when I get those rolled out, I will let you know, and you could help by networking that, man.
Yeah, I would love to do that, because this is a great idea.
Thank you.
I love it a lot.
I really appreciate that.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, thank you again for speaking with me. This was honestly a pleasure. I had so much fun learning about you and your ideas. It was great.
Same to you. Same to you.
Anyway, I hope you have a great week. And I hope that you can figure things out with your job soon, and hopefully it doesn't take the whole 2 years. I'm really hoping, maybe, let's say, within the next 6 months or something like that. I feel like that's pretty feasible.
Yeah. Okay, man. Fingers crossed. I'll work extra hard.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, thank you, Johnny, again, and take it easy.
You bet. Thanks. Oh, wait. So I'm gonna stay online. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I guess you're gonna be recording because you wanted to show me your flags and stuff.
Yes. Awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Later. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. You bet.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Across the Pond. Please share this with your friends and family, as well as giving my email to someone you think would love to star on an episode of the show. Connect with me on Twitter, find us on YouTube, and please consider checking out Patreon if you would like to be a part of Across the Pond. Thanks to Mark for the logo, and for the Black Couch label and Ollie H for the music. Tune in next Sunday for another awesome episode of Across the Pond.